Thanks all for joining. We'll now go ahead and get started. Take questions for head coach Pete DeBoer. We'll hold a moment for a few questions to come through this morning for Pete. We'll lead off with Ben Goetz with the Las Vegas Review Journal.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, Pete. Last year at this time, you talked about, this team needing to add more in-zone offense to this game, and there were, systematic things you could do to improve that. I guess, do you still feel that's the case, or is a personnel change maybe needed to get some extra offense in the playoffs?
You know what, Ben? I think every deep run you go on, every playoff experience, you learn more about your group. And I think I said in my post game the other night in Montreal, it's still raw, obviously, and we haven't done a deep dive into what specific areas obviously need to get better. I mean, there's some ones that jump out, but you learn about your group. I got to know John Cooper pretty well here over the last few years, and it reminds you that between Tampa's first appearance in the Stanley Cup final and winning the Stanley Cup, those 5 years or 4 or 5 years in between, they lost 2 conference finals. They missed the playoffs. They got swept in the first round after winning the President's Trophy. So, there's pain, and you try and remove the emotion from it. You recognize the good things you did. You tweak both from a coaching point of view and a personnel point of view, make yourself better, decide on the guys you can win with and the guys you can move on from, and keep the process moving forward. So, I think all those things are things we'll go through. I can tell you, I really felt we were closer this year than we were in the bubble. I felt we were a more dangerous team in all those areas, but obviously not there yet.
Next, we'll go to Jesse Granger with The Athletic.
Jesse.
Hi, Pete. Alec Martinez is obviously a UFA, and Kelly and George will obviously be the ones that ultimately decide whether he comes back or not, but he does a lot of the things you emphasize as a coach. I'm curious, how much of an advocate are you for bringing Alec back?
Well, huge. He's I can't understate the importance of him to our group here, the time he's been there with me. There's a reason he's a multiple Stanley Cup winner. There's a reason you can count on him at the most important time of the year. It's not an accident that, he scores that goal the other night. He rises to the occasion at the tough moments. And, you can never have enough guys like that.
Next question today goes to Ed Graney, Las Vegas Review Journal.
Hi, Ed.
Pete, you've been around different fan bases, and so much is made about this fan base and how passionate they are about this team. I'd assume disappointment, maybe a little spoiled for how much success you guys have had. You will take that every day over the opposite in terms of, the worst fan base maybe are apathetic and don't really care.
Oh, absolutely. And I've seen both. So, listen, our fan base is one of our biggest advantages here. And, we take the good with the bad. There's big expectations, and there should be. Our owner has big expectations, and there should be. He spends to the cap every year. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win. So those expectations come with it. At the same time, I think when you look at the Tampa story, you have to remember it's really hard to win. It's really hard to get to the top of that mountain. And we've been knocking on the door. There's been some great performances here. And I know, no one wants to hear about it, but we had some great nights here this year playing for the President's Trophy late in the season, closing out 2 series on home ice for the first time, beating the President's Trophy winning team in the playoffs. There's been some fantastic moments here, and we obviously want more, and we want the ultimate moment. But unfortunately, there's 31 other teams, and there's a process to get there, and we're going to keep moving it towards that direction.
Next question today comes from David Shane with the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hey, David.
Hi, Pete. With regard to the goalie, obviously the tandem worked out really well over the 56 games, and you won the Jennings Trophy. Going forward, though, for an 82-game season, if you are expecting that, are you advocating for both guys to come back, or does that just have you guys flying too close to the sun, I guess, with regard to the salary cap, and you're just not going to be able to make that work from a coaching standpoint?
The salary cap and that maneuvering is above my pay grade. That's for Kelly and George to figure out. I can tell you, it was obviously an integral part of our success this year in the unique year we were in, with the condensed schedule and the number of games. Everything that went on. It was obviously a blessing this year. Next year's a different story. We're not in those unique circumstances anymore.
Next, we'll go to Christopher Chapman, Fox Sports Las Vegas.
Hey, Christopher.
Yeah, hi, Pete. You mentioned the disappointment and the pain, but you also alluded to some of the really good things that this team accomplished this year. So when you look back, how much pride are you able to feel that you've kind of helped develop this team into one of the elite franchises in the league?
Well, listen, my piece in that, this team's been elite from day one, and that was a long time prior to me getting here. I think my piece in it here is hopefully it was stumbling a little bit. Hopefully get it back on track and hopefully take it to the summit. I mean, that's my small piece in this. And we haven't done that yet. I think we're back on track. I think we've made progress. I think we were better than we were a year ago. We were better equipped to win tough games in the playoffs than we were a year ago, and we've got to keep moving that forward. But I love this group. I love the city. I love the environment at the rink. I love the fans and their passion, and I love the group of men. Unfortunately, when you don't win, that never stays the same, and you've got to tweak and you've got to add and you got to move pieces around. And from a coaching perspective, we've got to overturn some stones and get things better. I think the obvious one is the power play. That's at the top of the list to fix. And for me, the power play isn't a this year problem. I didn't feel it was dangerous enough in the bubble. I thought it was mediocre. I thought, at the most important time in the bubble, as we went through and into the Dallas series, it got cold at the wrong time. And, we shuffled some things, put a new set of eyes on it this year, and it stumbled again. So, that's going to be the priority moving forward.
Let's go to Willie Ramirez from the Associated Press.
Hey, Willie.
Hey, Pete. I apologize if this is a repeat question. I just jumped on a couple of questions ago. But after Game 6, as you were told in the presser, Mark had taken a lot of responsibility. You replied that it's not all on him. And that was immediately. Since then, maybe on the flight or since you got home, have you had a chance to talk to him, sit with him? And how do you sort of just make sure that he understands? I'm sure he knows, but just to maybe have that one-on-one with him and remind him of how much he was a part of the success and not necessarily how much he was a part of the failure down the stretch in those 7 games he didn't have a point.
Well, that's what makes Mark Stone great, and that's why he wears the C for us. He takes that responsibility personally. This is a tough league when you're to score in when you're receiving the type of attention the other team gives you to shut you down. We did that to Nathan McKinnon, maybe the best player in the world, or in that conversation in the second round. It's hard to score and create offense when you get that type of attention. Listen, there was no bigger moment to deliver in the playoffs for us this year than Game 5 in Colorado when Mark Stone delivered and scored in overtime on the breakaway for us. So this guy's done it all year for us. that group got a lot of attention in this last round. Credit to Montreal, but that loss doesn't hang on him.
Next, we'll go to Chris Matthews with Channel 8 Las Vegas.
Chris.
Hey, Pete, I was wondering with you and the players, kind of aside from just the playoffs, so forth, just the whole season as a whole with the format and the scheduling where you're just playing in the one division. Are you kind of excited personally to kind of get out there and outplay all the other teams and have that format back to how it used to be? And next year and having Chicago roll in here, Boston roll in here and all those teams. I mean, just your thoughts on next season and getting back to normal.
I think the whole world's looking to get back to normal, Chris. I think, I think we want full buildings. We want to see other teams. From a coaching perspective, I want to be able to practice. I feel like we've played every other night since we dropped the puck in January until the end of June. We want that normalcy back, I think, for everybody and for sure from a hockey perspective.
We'll go to Danny Webster with NHL.com.
Hey, Danny.
Hey, Pete, you kind of touched on this year compared to last year, and last year in the bubble was certainly a mental grind for you and the group, and this year probably just as much with pauses and COVID and everything else. I guess when you look back on everything that happened, how pleased are you with the way everybody responded from a mental standpoint and keeping that focus all the way through a fast 5 months?
Yeah, you know what? I couldn't be prouder of our group. It's a great point. You forget those days where, we played a game in the playoffs and had 9 false positive tests that night, and don't sleep all night wondering if you're going to be able to play the next playoff game. With COVID running through our coaching staff and team at different points and guys being shut down, I thought our medical staff and our trainers and our support staff and our doctors were phenomenal. I think it's one of those 18-month periods between the bubble and this season that I'm going to look back at 10 years from now and go, wow, what a road, what an adventure. When you're in it, you're just surviving day to day and dealing with the next thing that's coming up. So it's exhausting. An NHL season is exhausting enough when you throw in everything that's gone on here. It's even more so. So I think everyone's looking for a break.
Take a few final questions for Pete. Next, we'll go back to Ed Graney, Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hey, Ed.
Hey, Pete, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure the first time we ever talked to you in Ottawa, you said you got the call by a pool in Florida, which, congratulations on that. But in that instant, whether it's that instant or the plane ride or whatever, did you think, knowing where you were going, that this was the best chance to win a cup, and have the last few years just convinced you more and more of that?
Absolutely. When Kelly called me and asked me if I was interested, there was zero hesitation. I knew this franchise close up from being in the division. I saw the commitment of ownership and management to win every single year, and to make tough decisions to win. Not the easy path. And from a coaching perspective, that's all you're looking for. You want that opportunity, and this group and this organization has that.
Next, we'll go to David Shane with the Las Vegas Review-Journal.
Hey, David.
Hi, Pete. In that series, especially, you see the impact that Suzuki and Caulfield, some of their younger players, had going forward for your squad. Just with regard to Cody Glass, Peyton Krebs, how important is the summer going to be for them? How important next year are you going to need them to make an impact? And are there other guys within the system you're looking at in that same way?
Yeah, when I got the job 18 months ago, we wanted to infuse some of the youth. We made some tough decisions, and Zach Whitecloud came in and grabbed a job and played regularly. And then we wanted to get Nick Hagan this year because he deserved to be in there, and he did that all year for us. Nick Waugh, came in. So I think there's been an influx of youth into our group, and there's more on the horizon. Those names you're saying aren't the only ones that are there. Dylan Coughlin came in this year and played some big games for us. So, I think for a young franchise, it's important to keep infusing that youth. At the same time, it can't be, not earned, and it can't be at the detriment of the group not winning a Stanley Cup. They have to be able to pull their weight. So, that's going to be the challenge for those young guys.
Next, we'll go back to Christopher Chapman, Fox Sports, Las Vegas.
Christopher.
Yeah, hi Pete. You kind of just mentioned the younger guys that are down in Henderson and maybe part of the taxi squad this year, but this is now going to be the second year that I don't believe you guys are going to have a development camp. So how much more difficult does that make your job when scouting these younger players, just to see what you have and how they mesh with some of the older players?
Yeah, it's never perfect not to have a development camp, but I can tell you one of the benefits of the extended taxi squad has been, our ability to see these guys more than we would even with a development camp. And I think this year, the one thing about this organization is a young guy can't say he never got opportunity. I think we stuck young guys in all year and tried to put them in situations where they had an opportunity to succeed, come in, play on the first line, play with good players, play on the power play, play good minutes. So, I think with between injuries and COVID and roster and things like that, I think the young players in this organization have all been given a good opportunity to show what they have. And some have seized the moment, some haven't, some just aren't ready yet. And, hopefully in September will be.
Pete, thanks for the time.
Thanks, guys.